Going on, everybody? Welcome back to another exciting episode of the Viall Files Bachelor Recap Edition. I'm your host, Nick, joined by Allie, Amanda, and our very wonderful special guest, Mariel Molino, is with us today, the very talented and wonderful actor from the hit show Promised Land. But more importantly, and way more importantly, avid Bachelor follower and listener of the Viall Files.
Yes, sir.
If I understand correctly.
And Ask Nick.
And Ask Nick. Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Do you want to come back for an Ask Nick episode?
Oh, hell yeah.
All right.
We'll see how this goes, though.
Okay. How long have you been a Bachelor fan? Just so people can
So
make sure they can trust your hot takes and
I
credibility.
have been seeing this every season since Emily Maynard.
Emily Maynard.
So
Okay. OG.
Yeah, I'm an OG.
Before I watched.
Before you were on the show, and interesting enough, I feel like I've been on my own journey with you,
Well,
as all of America, right?
yeah.
But like I hated you, especially with Andy, and then with Caitlin.
I don't get the Caitlyn so much. I feel like Caitlyn was still the residuals of Andy, but
For me, it wasn't
you went
about
back-
you. It was more about Sean and Caitlin. Like I was just a
root for
stan.
them.
Yeah.
Such a stan.
Go back and watch it.
I
bet
know,
you feel
I
differently.
rewatched it.
Well, they
recently,
did
and I
you
was like-
dirty, dude. They really did.
No, but just go back and watch it now with the same edit.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think you should, don't waste your time. But if you did,
Yeah.
I think you would feel differently.
And then obviously Bachelor in Paradise. I was like, oh man, this guy, he's a good guy. And
And
things
here we
change.
are.
And here we are.
And here we are. We should remember that as we talk about this episode.
Mm.
Before we get into the tea, just a quick. Megan Trainor is with us tomorrow.
Ooh.
Amazing episode. Her brother Ryan, who I had the pleasure of meeting, also is joining us. They have a new hit podcast. We'll be talking about a ton of things. Megan Trainor's life included. I've been trying to get her brother out there dating as well. We have an amazing mediation call lined up as well. And we're going to talk. Have you been watching Love is Blind on Netflix?
I have the second season.
Yeah, I'm into it.
I have my thoughts, man.
Ugh.
Shane. Oof.
Oof.
Ugh.
Shane, the guy.
Yeah, the guy.
I'm not totally caught up. But you guys don't.
I'm on like
I'm not.
episode 3.
Shane, like
I'm on like 3 or
Shane.
4.
Oh, then I think you got to keep going. Shane's the one person they like every time you're like, no, douche. Then he comes back. He's surprising me because at first it's like red flag, and then it's like, then he comes around. He never
He wants love. I think he's earnest in that, but he's playing.
I also
You
feel
think
like
he's playing?
Oh man, he's playing.
I'm not so sure. I keep thinking that. Then they come back around. They seem to be surprisingly one of the healthiest couples. I mean, who's the first couple that fell in love? The first one to get engaged.
Oh man, she has like she's like a host now, right? What's her name?
No.
Not
on
that
season
one?
2.
Oh, on season 2.
This episode.
Yes.
Nick and Dan.
The ones that-
and Danielle.
Nick and Danielle.
I
Yeah,
love
Nick and
watching-
Danielle. They're great.
You
she has
think
like
they're
the
great?
body
Like, as in like,
insecurity.
yeah,
You don't?
they're
Fine.
terribly toxic. I love watching them fight. They're a train
Oh
wreck.
well, I'm only on the episode like 2 or end of 2.
Oh my god.
I haven't seen them in the real world.
Oh yeah. It's
Oh no,
Oh,
he
it's awesome.
seemed like so
see,
great.
yeah. You know what? That's what I'm saying. Shane, give it time. He like, you're like, oh my god.
Oh, interesting.
I'm not sure yet, but he really like, oh, it turns. It's wild.
But he gave me anger issue
Yes,
vibes. And
100%.
to me,
With the crayon thing, it was really
Like
weird.
bro-y.
Yes.
Right. And to
Bro-y.
me, it doesn't matter if you're angry like 5% of the time or like 1% of the time. Like if you're like scary
Yeah.
when you're angry, like that's a
Okay,
deal breaker.
Yes, but he
Yeah.
did not get scary when he was angry. He showed signs of it, and people are allowed to get angry 1% of the time. Let's we all
Yeah,
get
it's
angry.
not laying on the floor too. Like
He threw a bit of
his-
it. Yeah,
you
sure.
know.
I'm telling you though, like going forward, I would. Yes, that was a red flag, but then all of a sudden he seems to change a little bit.
Aye.
Put a camera on you when you're angry, Amanda. I'd love to see. I'd love to see your reactions. I'm just saying, like he definitely showed some red flags for sure. But like, watch
It was just
Watch Nick and
I
what's her
think you're
name?
allowed to
Danielle.
be angry. I think you're allowed to be upset. I don't think you should have to be like perfect all the time. But I do think like there's a certain type like flavor of anger that to me feels really disconcerting. Like where it feels like there's a real like, oh, I don't know what you're going to do. Like kind of like, I don't know what you're going to do next.
No, and he was manipulating Shayna. He was like, why would you ask that?
He definitely, he's
Why
not
would
my
you ask
favorite. I'm
that?
just saying, in a sea of garbage, and I don't mean people, like these relationships are.
Whoa.
We'll get into The Bachelor, but you know what I like about Love is Blind? It reminds me, you know what it is? It's The Bachelor after they get engaged.
Speaking of which,
Hot
And I feel very,
take.
yeah. Anyway, tomorrow, tune in.
Sure.
Meghan Trainor mediation, some Love is Blind. You won't want to miss that. All right, Allie, we're ready for you.
Great. Let's do it. Okay. So, in no particular order, we're going to start out. Lauren and Ari did a little interview with Us Weekly talking about their life as a young family and if they would potentially want to have more kids. Ari has had a vasectomy. Those are reversible.
He has.
Yes.
Did
So
we find that out in this interview, or was that old news?
I feel like they've probably been talking about it openly. It didn't feel like a big reveal. But
I feel like I've heard that.
You
yeah.
have, okay.
Yeah. So they were talking about, that is reversible. And then Ari mentioned something about how he didn't always, view their age gap as a big thing. He's 40, she's 30. But he was saying, obviously, we don't want more kids right now because their kids are so young and that's a lot. But
How many kids? They have two or
they
three?
have two.
They have two?
And I don't think they're like, we don't want to do like 3 under 3. So, but he was like, I'm 40 now. I don't know if I necessarily want to like start having another kid at 45 because he's like, I'm not necessarily a young dad now, but I don't want to be any older. So
Mm.
I just didn't realize people were getting vasectomies as like
That
a temporary
early.
form of birth
Yeah.
control. Like I've always known it was reversible, but is it relatively easily reversible?
Is it a surgical procedure? Do you have to go under to do it?
I don't know if you. I don't know. I've never done
I'm
it.
just looking at you because
Yeah.
you would.
Yeah, I don't. I don't think. My understanding, it's not super invasive. I think it's like. I don't think this is an overnight situation. Whether
Yeah.
you're under, I don't know.
Yeah, interesting. Interesting form of birth control.
But like,
if
just as a married couple, like pull out.
Yeah,
you know?
right?
I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
I would rather just be like,
Oops. Here we are.
I mean, it's gotten me this far. you know?
Oh, God.
Well, I haven't had a vasectomy.
Oh.
All right. Well, congrats to.
just a little potential, I guess, baby update. Not really, but
I will say I think we should. I really don't know what happens at the end of this season. I keep hearing small rumors how much of a shit show it is, and I'm worried for Clayton. I will say that much.
Yeah,
With the I had sex with 2 people kind of stuff.
Mhm.
There's remnants of Peter. There's remnants of Ari and Becca. I don't know how it's
Also-
gonna go, but let's not forget Ari and Lauren's love story. They have 2 kids.
Mm.
We rooting for them. Becca Kufrin now happy with Thomas. Everyone's happy. And
Bachelor
we
happiness.
fucking hated Ari. Now, again, this is not a preview of what, I don't know if it's going to be a switcheroo. I have no idea, but I do think.
You think it's in that lane?
I
of the
think,
Ari
I have
kind
no
of?
idea. I really don't know. I hear it's messy.
I actually didn't hate Ari for that. I think,
I think you're
he
the only
was
one.
crucified because, they shot it. But it's because of that she's the Bachelorette.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was in Becca's favor, and obviously it catapulted her to be the Bachelorette.
100%.
But either way, I mean, it's just one of those things. And if it gets messy, usually the Bachelor is not going to look good because there's this weird thing. It's like I think as viewers, we watch this show knowing the rules and like you can, group dates and handing out multiple roses and dating multiple people and fantasy suite. Hey, you signed up for type of stuff. But once like it gets down to the final, I think like there's this unspoken expectation that the audience have of once you get close to the end, it's like don't be the fuck boy. Don't like get sloppy, have a decision made. Don't, because it gets too close to the end. I think it starts reminding the people watching of like their own lives in dating with the flip flopping and
their own indecision.
I thought I knew, and like saying the words of affirmation and having sex and saying I love you only to change your mind and say, and then it hits too close to home, I think, to the audience.
And especially if you're the Bachelor, right? Because we already have this double standard of like, if a man does it to the woman, you know?
Yeah.
Like we're tougher on them.
I think there's part of it is historically, I think men have gotten away with that type of behavior.
Exactly.
And now when we watch it, and we have an audience primarily of women, I think when we watch the Bachelorettes do it, there's a level of, finally, empowerment.
Yeah.
We can go to the fantasy suite and do this because we've been judged for so long for embracing our
shame.
sexuality and things like that. And even though when the Bachelor does it now, it's we don't offer that same kind of grace because it's like, see, you've always fucking done this shit. You're doing it again. We thought you were one of the good ones.
Can't
You've proved
control
us wrong.
yourself.
You can't. Yeah. So we'll see. But I'm just saying, like, whatever happens, let's just remember that Ari and Lauren and Becca and Thomas are all better off. That's all I'm saying. And that is not a preview. I truly have no idea, and I'm working hard to not be spoiled. What's out? What else is out?
Well, speaking of couples that are still together, Matt and Rachel are still together, even though they didn't technically
Good for them.
finish the season together. But speaking of Matt James, he played in an all-star basketball game, and people are kind of criticizing him because he accidentally, it was like a tap or a touch, Brittany Elena's chest when he was shooting his foul shots. Brittany said it was fine. It was an accident. He apologized. But Tyler Cameron did tweet at his best friend and kind of raked him through the coals a bit and said, "Damn, Matt, airballed 2 free throws and a boob punch. Not your night. And after your golf swing at the Waste Management Open, we're running out of sports you can try."
Ooh.
Oh, damn.
Some good bromance. I don't know.
Oh, man, those two. Oh. Tyler's single now, right? So I hear?
I believe so.
Right?
Yeah. Are you a big fan?
I saw him on an app, so I'm assuming.
Did you swipe right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Tyler, if you're listening.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it sounds like, it was an accident.
An innocent
Yeah,
mistake.
yeah.
I just thought it was funny that Tyler called him out for
Okay.
it.
Hey, maybe you're traveling some more, Summer's approaching. You might have some trips lined up. Maybe just a weekend getaway. Well, get some good luggage. Treat yourself with Away. I've been using the Away suitcase for some time now. Love it. Very durable. You see them all over. It's like trendy. You feel like a cool kid. And they're made very durably. They also, you can beat them up and they don't look beat up. They're available in different materials like polycarbonate, aluminum, durable nylon, a variety of colors and sizes. So it's fun.
I brought mine to San Diego this weekend and I felt so classy. And also I got it in their like blush pink color. So I felt very trendy as well. But yes, it has the battery pack. I could lock it, which was very nice because sometimes you have to like leave your luggage if your room's not ready. I would also argue I jammed this thing full of clothes. It was super heavy. And those wheels, I was like flying.
Yeah.
You would have no idea.
They're for 360 spin wheels, guarantee the smoothest roll. There's a 100-day trial for everything Away makes. Take the product out on the road, live with it, travel with it, even get lost with it for 100 days. If you decide it's not for you, you can return any non-personalized item for a full refund during that period. No ifs, ands, or asterisks. Away is offering free shipping and returns and on any order within the US, UK, Europe, and Canada. Start your 100-day trial today and shop the entire Away lineup of travel essentials, including their best-selling suitcase at awaytravel.com/VIALL. That is awaytravel.com/VIALL. Wonder Even the Rich pulls back the curtains of the lives of the rich and famous and takes a peek at the wild world of celebrity. In an all-new season, hosts Brooke and Aricia are telling the story of Janet Jackson. That's right, Janet. We all loved Janet. We still love her, but for whatever reason, society ruined her career. What happened?
She was at the peak.
A nipple popped out.
Ugh.
Seemed like it was more Justin's fault than hers. We don't really know, but
She was at her peak and
Janet
we
really
got a peak.
took it on the chin. And it's such a fascinating story. And Janet was so influential in all of our lives, pop culture-wise, along with Mariah Carey, Madonna, even her brother. So what's the real story? Find out more with Wonder is Even the Rich. Listen to Even the Rich and The Rich and Daily on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, or you can listen ad-free by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app.
Brandon J. might have been inspired by one Mr. Nicholas Viall and got a tattoo of a lighthouse on his arm and posted brightness even in the darkest times.
Oh.
Does that have to do with Michelle? We don't
I hope
know.
not. God.
Yeah,
I
come
want to
on.
get a
It
lighthouse.
is but it's big. It's
No,
like
I saw it. It's a cool
sleeve.
tattoo.
Yeah.
Okay.
I very much hope it was not like,
based off of such a fleeting experience.
yes, I hope it was not solely based off his Bachelor.
Because he's probably still
experience.
processing it, and it's
Oh,
a very
no.
permanent.
Oh, for sure.
choice.
Come on.
Oh my God, he's still
Get
processing.
over it, no? A little? Is it
I think
okay?
you're being a little harsh.
Really? Oh, shoot. I mean, yes, he was in love, but like.
I mean, yeah, get over it. Sure. I think if
Oh,
he's
that's
if
mean. I'm
Brandon was
sorry.
walking around the streets of LA and I bumped into him and he's just like moping around, hanging his head, I would be
But
like,
how
hey,
is he?
I mean, I don't know. I haven't talked to him since we had the pleasure of interviewing him. But I think I would say, hey man, you got to start getting over it. But I think if he came in here and we talked and said, hey, Brandon, how you doing? He said, I'm great. I'm doing well. I'm dating. But like, yeah, I think it still kind of affects me to a certain degree. I think that would be fair.
Oh, of course. But if
Yeah.
he's getting a tattoo.
I truly hope he did
know,
not get the tattoo
for
solely
Michelle.
based off. I don't want to say for Michelle, but I hope, and I suspect that it's not, right?
But I think that's the nice thing is like if you get a tattoo, even if you have one meaning in mind when you get it, I think as you pivot and grow, you can kind of assign. You
Yeah.
know, like I feel like
Yeah.
lightness in the dark is something you can probably apply to most things in your life.
And I
Oh,
think
yeah.
maybe this experience was a teachable moment for him, right? Like it taught him to overcome adversity. It taught him that he can be laser focused and be sure about his feelings and intentions, only
Yeah.
to realize, hey, life throws you curveballs.
Oh, he was so sweet.
He was great. Yeah.
So
It's a cool
sweet.
tattoo. But
Speaking of moving on, Riley has posted. They've been kind of, Riley and Marissa have been very radio silent about their whole breakup. We all speculated. He had a very long post about how he's doing. Some of the quotes in the post were, "This has not been an easy time. This has been one of the most difficult times of my life." And that he was always taught that we bend, but we don't break. But like kind of an overall sentiment of you can try and try and try, but it doesn't always work out. Great. And then Deandra, friend of Marissa,
Mhm,
also in Bachelor
mhm.
Nation, tweeted a couple things. And she said, "I'm not an inherently messy person, but when I see things in real time and then see it's somehow skewed that perception for social media, it's very scary. It's not okay by any means to be the catalyst of your own demise and then go on to socials and ask for the public's sympathy. There are always two sides to a story." And Marissa retweeted both of those.
yeah.
So
Hasn't he been, even when they were dating, kind of like seen with the boys and like hanging out at clubs and doing all this stuff? Kind of like,
Yeah, but that doesn't necessarily.
no,
mean
it doesn't
he's
mean
doing wrong.
you're in the wrong on anything. I am really curious to see what happened because I loved them. I really was rooting for them.
Yeah, I was a big fan of him.
And it's just like, he seems like such a stand-up guy. He had so many instances where he really was like this voice of reason for a lot of the stuff that was going on the beach. And like, yeah, but I think it's not fair for you to tell someone not to, you don't know if he's not going through a hard time, regardless of what he did or didn't do.
I've met I know too much.
Oh no, well then
So
can
it's
you
hard.
not?
I can't say too much. I've only heard one side of it. It's not great.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
I think they should stop tweeting. If someone
Yeah.
wants to come out and share their side of the story, then I guess do that. But I think these trying to win the breakup with cryptic
Mm.
tweets, because here we are speculating about it. Enough of people, I think, know stuff. Deandra knows
Mhm.
stuff. I haven't heard firsthand, but I've heard from people I trust. But I've only heard one side.
But this was
Yeah.
his Instagram caption?
yeah, so he posted on Instagram with a super long caption.
Yeah.
And then Deandra tweeted those couple things.
Okay.
And then Marissa retweeted Deandra's two tweets.
Okay, got it.
They're clearly tweeting with intention, right?
Mm.
It's a PR thing,
Yeah.
right? Otherwise, you just talk to your friends,
Yeah.
right? They have a public relationship,
wanna
so
win
I
the
get
public appeal.
why. I get the motivation, but at the end of the day, it's a PR thing.
Yeah.
Riley's trying to win the PR game.
Marissa's not posting, but she's retweeting.
Yeah.
The
So like,
Deandra stuff.
she's even more cryptically trying to win the PR game. And it's very low key, but nevertheless, it's still like, otherwise just don't tweet it.
Don't retweet.
Yeah. And finally, another Bachelor couple of, well, technically exes. We all remember that Hannah talked about one Mr. Peter Weber in her book, God Bless This Mess, how they hooked up. Peter has spoken and has said, quote, if two people have a private situation and talk and they say they're going to keep it private, I just keep it private. I don't know. She now has done that to me on 2 occasions where she said she's not going to say anything and then she says something.
Gotta sell them books.
Oy, oy, oy.
What do you ladies think? Because do you think there's a double standard?
Oh, yeah.
I feel like this has popped up a couple times as these Bachelor books have been coming out. I mean, you could even say it about Rachel's book.
Do you think there's a double standard between when women from Bachelor Nation write tell-alls versus men who write tell-alls and spill their tea?
Yeah.
I think it goes back to what we were talking about of how when a woman does it, it's empowerment, and then the men have to be more careful.
I mean, I just think it's like.
And do you think that's okay?
No, I don't think it's okay. I think what happens in a private moment should stay private. You shouldn't use it to sell books. You shouldn't use it for clickbait, in my opinion. But at the same time, it's like a slippery slope because you guys have really gone on a public platform.
Yeah.
Not only in Bachelor Nation,
right,
but
yeah. I'm assuming like that's what like Hannah's publisher was like, hey, listen, your relationship started on TV.
Yeah.
It was public then.
Yeah.
So that's one argument. But the other argument is like, well, as someone who's been in it, like you agree to go on TV, but when the cameras are off and like people have started relationships people in Bachelor Nation have started relationships outside of Bachelor world. And if two people, again, I wasn't there, but according to Peter, it sounds like they had this kind of, hey, let's just not make this a public thing. Let's see how this goes. Now, is that,
well, yeah, cameras weren't rolling when they had that, They were at a party, right?
But then, like, we've seen in Bachelor Paradise, we've seen the implication from women in Paradise being like, I mean, as hard as I've been on Blake Horseman, like, and I'm not hard on him for releasing the tweets, but he was vilified for silencing women on the beach because he was like, why are you telling everyone we hooked up?
Right.
So like, where do you draw the line?
I feel like it's an interesting question, like even as it relates to like non-reality couples of like, at what point do you get ownership of an interaction you have with someone versus like to what extent do you owe them privacy? Because it's like,
I think ownership's the wrong word.
Or like autonomy over it. Like at what point do you have the right to say like, this was an experience that affected me. And so it is a part of my story and I should have like the choice of when to share or tell that story.
Yeah. Cause it's like,
because it's a fine line between that and protecting someone's privacy.
It seems like when a guy talks about it, he's risking slut shaming.
Yeah.
I think there's a very different history behind it also. Like I think if you look at the way that like, and I'm curious about this because obviously like I haven't been in all male spaces as a man, but it seems like sometimes the tone that we associate with that setting is a lot more like the idea of like a guy sharing details about like his sex life or whatever it is with a bunch of guys feels a lot.
It's like locker room talk.
Yeah. Like
that exists.
Potentially ickier.
Sure. I mean, locker room talk, guys bragging and talking about sexual conquests has always been, and I'm sure is still a thing. That happens.
Yeah.
That does not mean every guy does it. Doesn't even mean most guys do it. So it does seem to be a bit of a slippery slope to assume that, oh, well, he's bragging about it with his buddies. To assume every guy is bragging about it with his buddies, and therefore that gives me the freedom to tell anyone I want, even though we agreed to keep this between us, because like, can it not affect a guy's mental health if you're going around talking about how he is or isn't in bed? It's things like that. It's just like
people do that, like so, like people body shame men.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like
and sex shame men.
Yeah.
Totally.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like
and I think, I don't know.
But she kind of took away the windmill stuff, right? Or no?
Well, that's one of those. That was again back to another double. It was funny when they talked about like, Hannah was just like national TV. By the way, I mean, and they laughed because it seemed flattering to Peter.
It was very flattering.
It was like,
it was very flattering.
So it's all context. Like when it's flattering, it's a fine. When it's when it's it's a threading of the needle for sure. I guess all I can say is I think we all agree that if Peter's frustrated, I suppose he has a right to be frustrated, right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
I agree.
I don't know if anyone's in a position to tell him to get over it or that he can't be frustrated. I mean, at the same time, but we all wanted to know, like
we're here talking about it.
We can talk about how it might have been morally wrong for Hannah to share, but also thank you, Hannah.
Here we are.
Also, can we get an update? Is Hannah Brown still not following her potential sister? That's the real story I care about.
Let me do a deep
dive.
I think that whole thing is like she's obviously questioning this girl's intentions, right? I mean, I
gotta be, right? Do you think she is banking on the fact that there will be no wedding? I'm a poster child of being engaged doesn't mean you're going to get married. So is she banking on that? And if they do follow through, will she get the follow on the wedding day?
I'm sure if it becomes a real thing, she's gonna, give her a chance.
They're engaged.
Wait, what?
But are they?
They're engaged.
They're engaged.
They're engaged. They're not dating. They're
engaged.
But
do they have a date set for the wedding?
I don't know.
Because I feel like there's a difference, especially.
Of course.
I will say,
what?
Haley.
They're engaged. She got that on one knee.
He's younger than her, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay.
I could not be more invested in any other Bachelor story.
I don't want to judge, but I think it's a type of situation where I don't know.
I'm 100% team Hannah Brown on this one.
I know. I just think if she's the type of person that is going to go to news outlets and say this is the person I was dating and he told me this and da-da-da-da-da. So what does that say about her? It's a little thirsty and then now.
Yeah, we talk. It's not a coincidence
right?
that she is with Hannah Brown's brother.
Yeah.
It's just not. It's just not a coincidence. And I think that's what Hannah Brown, my guess is that's what Hannah Brown is feeling.
Yeah.
And I'm team Hannah Brown on this one.
Same.
They do not follow each other. It's not even a mutual situation, but Haley is now verified and has over 50,000 followers.
No.
Oh, Hannah Brown hates that. She's now verified. Oh.
The plot thickens.
It kind of has a gross, kind of stinky stench to it.
Yeah.
She just posted that it was her 30th birthday, and she does have a photo with the Brown family celebrating. Hannah is not there, but it's definitely Hannah's parents just hanging out.
Oh, so
I really feel for Hannah. I really do.
Yeah, that's not fun. Also, you just don't want to be, again, reminded of this ex that you like.
Not only that, but I think there's some shit. I think it's not a coincidence. It's just
No,
not.
it's not. It's not.
And I got to assume that's what Hannah.
Yeah.
Do you
feels.
Do you blame more the brother or her?
Her, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the brother is. I think he's had some tough luck in the past. I don't know, but I think. And I even know very little other than I think he's had some, tough times and I think maybe, I don't know. But
Hannah has talked about that before of going through tough times with her family. And I don't know what kind of program or facility he was going to, but she's talked about that before. And that's kind of when she was leaning on Tyler. They've talked about that. So I know, yeah.
I mean, Hannah's brother is Hannah's brother. It's family. That's her brother.
Mm-hmm.
So no matter what, it's her brother. This person's some outsider who keeps infiltrating herself into Hannah's life.
Yeah.
Couldn't you argue it's the brother who lets her? Like, it's like this, it's like, I think it's like the whole cheating thing where it's like, who did you owe it to? And at the end of the day, I think it's like the brother is the one who has the familial relationship.
Yeah, but her brothers, for example, all my siblings, right? It's a completely different situation, but every time they met someone new, especially when I was in the heat of it, when I was the Bachelor, you're meeting a stranger who comes to your house. And when I go home to visit family, it's a time to be myself and catch up and share stories and just not look over your shoulder. You know what I'm saying? And so when my siblings would bring people home, and no fault of theirs, you're a little bit more guarded. You're a little bit more safe. I don't know these fucking people, you just are. They're infiltrating your home. But my siblings have a right to find love and be themselves, and you know what I'm saying? It's
yeah.
they're
It's us.
And so this person who has a track record of infiltrating herself into Bachelor Nation, and maybe it's just dumb luck. Maybe she's totally innocent, and maybe we. But I'm just saying, if I'm Hannah, I get it. I get it.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, and I guess it's like it's pretty inconvenient. So the fact that they're together means they must have a very strong relationship. Because if it were just so, like, why would you go through all the BS?
And the fact that this girl did while going through this thing with Jed, she sought a national platform. She sought attention.
Yeah,
she sought she wanted her story to be told. It was like,
I don't agree that she's bad, but I'm like, at the end of the day, it's like the brother's the one who like has the obligation to Hannah and the loyalty.
I don't know. He doesn't have I don't think my siblings owe me anything. You know, like they owe themselves a chance to find happiness. And I believe that her brother loves her, that cares about her. He's found his person. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, but
and so like, if he thinks that he is truly in love with this person, why should he like not consider this person? You know, it's entirely possible, right, that this girl is innocent of this thing we're suggesting she might be guilty of, right? And of course he's going to believe her, Hannah's brother. Like, you want to believe in the person, right?
Yeah.
So I think it would be insane for Hannah to ask her brother to like break up with this person out of this, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I don't doubt that they must love each other and have a relationship, obviously, but I do think it's opportunistic.
Yeah.
I think maybe the way that it started or the way that she kind of saw an in was like, hey, here I am. I can hang on to this. And these 15 minutes are looking better if they're a little bit, bigger.
Because if you're Hannah, you're thinking, here's this person who has leveraged my personal life into their own blue check mark. And next time I go home for Christmas and something happens or we don't get along, and maybe, in-laws can like bicker and fight. And how do I know she's not going to like take that to Us Weekly? You know what I'm saying? Like, ugh, I'm just saying, so, and no, I don't fault her brother at all. Like, not one bit. I don't think it's his responsibility to like look out for Hannah Brown's like,
to not date like,
I don't think it's their brother
boyfriends.
No, but but like if he loves her, he loves her. I don't think it's her brother's responsibility to worry about like Hannah Brown's brand. But I empathize with Hannah Brown on feeling like this is an invasion of my privacy.
No, but I do think it's his responsibility to know a little better, like in the start, to say like,
sure, but he believes in her. He loves her. And when love is, like,
now, but when he first got
that's
approached,
what I'm saying.
Like a little sus, no?
Yeah.
But what if she's...
You get the DM from this girl.
What if she's...
it's like, it's so easy to just not respond to that DM. Or whatever it is.
Did she DM him? Was that
I'm
how
assuming. I don't think
whatever
the brother
that
would
initial
DM
like
her.
contact was.
I tried to research how they met. No one quite knows. But
we're all assuming this is based off the fact that she could be sus.
Yeah.
And if she is sus, then I blame the sus person, not the...
But you're not innocent.
I think he's just a guy in love.
But at the end of the day, it's like, who do you trust? Do you trust the sus
who has
person,
more to gain?
Or do you trust
of
your
course.
family?
I just blame who has more to gain? Clearly her, not Hannah's brother. Hannah Brown's brother is Hannah Brown's brother. He will always be Hannah Brown's brother. This girl is only anything because of Hannah Brown.
But if it were my brother, I'd be like, you don't think it's a little weird?
Oh, I'm sure Hannah Brown has said something and has a right to say something, but if we're like assigning blame, I just don't think she has everything to gain from what we suspect she might be trying to gain, and Hannah Brown's brother has nothing to gain from it.
Which is exactly like, why are you doing this?
Because he's in love.
Why would you do it in the start, though?
Yeah, that I can believe. He's probably like, oh, this is someone wants to.
Anyways, captivating story. Can't wait to find out more. Are we ready for the episode? Let's get to the episode. I think the big question of this episode, you can correct me if I'm wrong, is what do we think of Sarah? She certainly had some sus moments.
Oh, yeah. The crocodile tears?
I kind of think she might have been thrown under the bus by the show, by the women, by Mara. I think she got set up to fail.
Why?
Because the only real accusation that seemed to have any validity to it, at least that we saw. And we didn't actually see anything other than sus moments. We saw the accusation from Rachel, and I think we believe Rachel, right?
Yeah, we do.
Level of trust that we have with Rachel.
She's never been involved in drama.
Or she's smart about involving herself in drama. Like she picks her battles. But I think we trust Rachel. And this moment where she told Clayton he was crying around Sarah.
Yeah.
Which I also love how Clayton got weirdly defensive.
Yeah.
I wasn't crying. I wasn't crying.
Well, that's not
true. And if that's true and we trust Rachel, then that would be a weird thing for Sarah to say. And I would understand why Clayton would be upset about why lie about something like that. So but other than that, everything else seems to be talking about a feeling, talking about, well, she was, for me, I just think people in life often confuse their own insecurities with their perception of other people's cockiness or confidence.
Here's my question is, why haven't we seen these conversations that the women keep saying that they've
That is an excellent point. It was something that I was going to say. Thank you for bringing it up, because as we all know on this show, if it's said and it's good, they air it.
They air that.
And they're not airing any of this.
We don't see one conversation where she's like, I feel so confident with Clayton, and Clayton cried, and me and Clayton were crying together. And
it's all.
Do they not get off camera time before bed?
Sure, but.
Could it be that strikes me as a toothbrush conversation? You're doing your serum.
It's possible. It's possible, but.
Rachel said that she and Teddy were sitting in her room and she came in. And they've filmed that before of the girls sitting on the bed and talking. So I don't know why they
but there is a difference between your girl chats, which are staged, right? I mean, that's all they do. Is it staged? Sure, but that's all day long, right? The general rule is, if you're awake, you have a mic on.
Right.
You have to get permission to take your mic off, and if you're not going to bed, your mic's on. So yes, literally the only time would be when you're getting brushing your teeth. And I guess that's possible, but that would mean that all of these accusations that Sarah is doing is happening in these little windows of moments where Sarah's is I'm off mic, by the way, trying to assassinate these women's confidence, trying to get them all is that because that's the accusation, right? That Sarah is somehow Machiavellian style, finding these little moments off mic and trying to brainwash all these women into thinking they have no shot so that they all quit. And Sarah will be the only one left standing. If I'm understanding the general accusation.
I don't feel like that was the general accusation.
Okay. Well,
no, I don't feel like Rachel was she's making us feel this way. I think it was she's telling us that you're having these conversations and that you're very close. And yes, it made me feel some type of way, which is totally okay to feel a little insecure at times in your journey. I don't think it was her. I don't think Rachel was she's doing this to all the women in the way that Mara was, Yeah.
Well, I mean, here's I think what I didn't like about this episode, because I don't I don't know about Sarah, but I feel confident in knowing Mara, and I love what Andrew said last week.
Yeah, a
real villain. And that, for all the conversations we had about Shanae this season, and I know people have disagreed with me, and I think my only point is let's just chill out, because what I'm confident in saying is that if I ran into Shanae in the street, I would see a different person. Now, she might still be toxic. She might be a mess. I don't know. But this over-the-top theatrics, it seems forced and seeking out airtime. Or Mara is, I'm pretty confident this is who Mara is. I feel
yeah, baby.
I've heard people who know her and they're that tracks.
Yeah.
And just someone who, not a bad person, just someone who is in her head a little too much about her love story and projects these insecurities onto everyone else. and while simultaneously trying to present herself is unbothered and above it all and righteous. And she's not. She's a human. She has, that's what I love about Love is Blind too. There's no heroes and villains. There's just a bunch of people with warts. And they show people's good and bad sides. You see everyone's warts on that show. Yeah. And then like The Bachelor, they don't do that. And it's a different show, it's about the journey. And Mara wants to act like she has no warts. Right. It's just not her time. It's just, and it's so.
And even what she said about like something that really stuck out with me, she was like, I'm doing all the things. I'm giving all the time. Where's my time? What do I need to do? What else do I need to do? Because I'm doing everything that he's asking me to do. And I'm like, girl, you should know that you're not supposed to be giving in a relationship if you're not getting anything back.
It doesn't just...
you're talking about how these girls are so young, they don't know, but you're the voice of reason and you're saying like, I'm giving, I'm doing, and I'm not getting anything. Then leave.
She's basically turning herself into a prize to be won, and she's wondering why she hasn't been chosen,
Because you have to choose someone who chooses you back.
And she's just like, oh, he's not choosing me. I should or have to do more. And then when they don't choose me, it immediately is.
How about the other women?
Yeah, it's and that's why. And what I hated about it is whatever we think of Sarah, because like we recorded this a little bit early. Prediction right now, if you're listening to this on a Tuesday. Go to Mara's Instagram, and I bet she is posting some "I told you so" content.
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like self-righteous Mara is out there on Instagram,
feeling vindicated,
either in your face or passive aggressive "told you so" content, and that annoys me.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? Like I'm almost,
that grinds your gears.
It's just like ugh. Because like everything that Mara did, like whether Sarah's right or wrong, in that one-on-one fight, Mara was 100 in my eyes
in the wrong,
100% in the wrong. Just like she makes shit up.
She said, "You're getting sloppy. Go back to your cute, quiet confidence." So condescendingly.
Oh my God! And then she called her ignorant. Ignorant about what?
And then she was like, all the girls are saying this. And then she's like, well, my friends, they're my friends. And then, no, we're not talking about the girls.
Yeah, I fucking hate it when people bring other people into their argument.
And then deny that they did.
Oh my God. I fucking hate that.
Oh my God. But then, I don't know, with the whole Sarah thing, I disagree. There is like this, she has this doe-eyed, wide-eyed innocence look that's what comes off when you first see her.
She definitely gives off. I'm not sure I can trust you.
Little cookie.
100%.
She knows what she's doing. I mean, she even had a one-liner was like with Mara. What did it say? Go back to the Jersey Turnpike with some cheap wine. Like,
yeah. I mean,
like never forget that Sarah called Mara gap tooth.
It was in
unprovoked.
No, not unprovoked.
It was
in a roast.
Yeah.
That's different. It is different. Have you ever watched?
I have seen a roast. I just think it's like that to me is like a really crazy choice to comment on.
It's a cheap.
Sure, but I'm just saying it not to call it unprovoked would be inaccurate and disingenuous. You've seen roasts and they're much harsher, especially like professional roasts.
Yeah,
there's some real like holy shit. I can't believe they said that. And I'm not saying it's okay, and I'm not saying like Mara shouldn't. But it wasn't unprovoked, just by definition.
But also the crying. It's like...
Oh, Sarah definitely, like, you can tell.
Do you believe that?
No.
Even last episode, there was something off about it.
I was watching this episode, and the moment in which she was, quote unquote, crying, I did not see any tears.
No.
Do you believe anyone? Who has the most realistic fake cries? Because I do think there's a lot of fake crying this season. And by fake crying, I mean... Yeah, they're tired and they're emotional, but like they seem to like get asked a question by Clayton, and then you kind of see this look in their face where it's like, it's time, it's time. And they kind of like almost change their position and like take a breath.
Clayton does it too.
And start, like, and I think I don't entirely believe Rachel's tears.
When did she cry? Less when
When
they had that
she was
confrontation.
when she was
about.
speaking her truth about Sarah.
Oh man.
I guess here's the thing. I see what you're all seeing with Sarah. I really do. But the problem I have is with the argument from the women in Mara. And they are talking about a feeling that she's making them feel. And that is, what did you tell me your therapist said, Amanda?
Oh, shout out to Dana. She said, people don't make you feel anything. They invite you to feel stuff. Which I think is a really empowering way of looking at it. So
and very relatable to this episode. And again, unless we know that Sarah is in a Machiavellian way deliberately trying to like mind fuck these women, then but like if Sarah is getting a second one-on-one and feeling good about it, and you know, like when she came in and addressed the group Sarah was under attack. Like how, and I do know,
Under attack.
If you go,
sir.
If you go, I mean, maybe this is PTSD from Andy's season, but I got a second one-on-one, and it's always like second one-on-one before someone else gets there first, and then you go on a date. You're all excited. You're having the time of your life, and then like you know the Bachelorette, because that's how it works. Because if there's drama, the job of the Bachelor is to like bring up the drama. Right. Like it's just how it works, right? You don't know that at the time, and so you're just like, hey, by the way, you know we're enjoying this really romantic date. Everyone's saying this about you, or I heard this rumor about you, and it's out of left fucking field. And you're just like, what the fuck? I didn't say that. What are you talking about? I remember Andy accusing me of saying, people are saying that you think you're the one. I literally never said that. And I was just like, well, I believe in our connection. I remember what I said to her. I said, do I have a hard time believing that you have the same connection with someone else as you have for me? Yeah, but if I didn't think that,
I wouldn't be here.
I wouldn't be. Talk about right reasons. If you don't, at this stage in the game, believe that you are the one, then you shouldn't be talking about falling in love or getting engaged. Then you're just playing the Bachelor game.
But there's a difference between knowing you are the one and talking about it.
Totally. But when you go on a date and someone that you are trying to connect with in your limited time tells you this rumor, and they don't tell you who, they just say, that's what I heard about you. And the whole date becomes an accusation. It feels like you're being attacked. I'm like, trust me, it does.
This is why you feel for Sarah.
I mean, do I empathize? For sure, of course. And I think this is not like you guys can't get to that place where.
But he wasn't accusing. Like, my thing is when she comes in the first time at the top of the episode, and she's like, you know, someone is saying that I'm not here for the right reasons, or I'm too young, right? Yeah. The way she has her little smile.
Yeah, no, I see all that.
And she's waving her rose.
Basking in it. And she's like, and just so you know, we're stronger for it.
I see all that. I do. I'm not like I'm not I don't. I have to. I'm sure because you know how it is. People will listen. Some people listen to the show.
You gotta be devil's advocate.
I don't have to. I'm just. It's how how I don't play devil's advocate for the sake of it. It's how I really feel, and I'm on the fence with Sarah. I'm not like black and white. I'm just saying I don't like how there's not a lot of evidence to back up these claims other than what we see, which is, yes, we see some not flattering characteristics. We see that. Does that define people? Can we just make broad judgments about their character or their intentions? Because have you ever acted immature when someone's come after you?
Of course.
You know, I'm just saying we're talking about human reactions here.
But she reminds me of a Patriots fan. And like, I'm a Patriots fan. Like, that's a bad thing. Like the way she's like, you tried to like, I just think the way that she has, I think it's totally fine to be confident. I think it's totally fine to believe that you are here and a front runner and going to go all the way, because as you were saying, that's a testament to the strength of your love. To me, it's the way she needs to position herself above the other women. It's not just like I have an amazing connection with Clayton. It's the way that she like takes so much pride and solace in sort of the competitive nature of it and relegating them below her.
What would you do if you believed in a relationship that you had and you felt connected to it and you felt like you might get engaged, and then your peers were belittling that? Might bring out some petty emotions to I'm not saying she's right, and maybe and she looked bad. She did, but Why is it like I feel like I struggle sometimes.
But
it's like even sometimes you guys, it's like it's either she fucking sucks or she's a queen.
No, yeah, I agree with you there. There is an in between. We did not see these horrible moments of like her belittling the women, which is again why I said like, well, we never saw these conversations, right?
Yeah.
So we do have to give her the benefit of the doubt that she wasn't going around telling everybody like, I have such a great relationship with Clayton. Like we really didn't see that. But yes, the moments that she did talk about her relationship were a little cringy, but that still doesn't mean that she deserves. It's a kind of thing of like, Shanae leaves, we need a villain.
We saw what I saw is probably just someone who maybe her youthfulness came out. And maybe it's not, maybe it was age. Maybe she has a petty side. Maybe she has a mean side. Sarah does not look like a perfect person. She definitely looks sus. I thought she was fake crying.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, like, I don't know if the house clearly turned on her as it happened. What did we say all season? As soon as Shanae leaves,
yeah,
they're going to turn on someone. And I feel like the women were like, I thought that was a really interesting conversation when Sarah was talking with Clayton, and you had Rachel and Teddy, and they were just kind of like, you could almost see them saying like, I thought I liked her, but I don't know, maybe she does.
Yeah.
It's like they were trying to almost convince themselves that she was not there for the right reasons. It's almost like they didn't really know if she was or wasn't, but they just kind of like, you know what? Maybe she's not.
Even Gabby, who I love and adore, had a moment of like, yeah, I guess. Yeah, she really was, like
and then by the time they got to the therapy date, they're all out there and they're fully saying things like, people like her will get caught up in their lies and whatever. And then suddenly they had like a whole platform and like campaign.
Yeah, and let's talk about the therapy date.
Oh, man.
I'm not convinced that was a real doctor.
No, there's no way.
Well, I think, because I think the giveaway, and I don't think, well, one, I don't think it's even, and we're in Vienna. By the way, like, we're back traveling. I'm so envious of the places they're going.
Damn.
Beautiful, right? Like, just give a moment to, we're not in New Mexico anymore. Love New Mexico. It's not New Mexico. New Mexico people, beautiful landscape.
No, but New Mexico after 6 weeks.
We're not stuck in that hotel.
Yes.
Beautiful landscape. My understanding, I tried to, I think one of the first episodes we had, I had a therapist on. And I was like, it'd be fun to like, give me like a therapy session on the podcast. It was like episode 5 we ever done.
Oh, wow.
And they're like, I can't do that. Like HIPAA laws, like it's against my like code of being a therapist or a doctor. So my understanding to like actually give a therapy session that would, and again, those rules might be different in Vienna than they are in the States. I don't know if it's a worldwide rule or it's like country by country.
Well, they were careful about the language because it was like, it wasn't psychiatry. It was like
psychoanalysis.
They definitely said like couples. Did they say couples counseling or couples therapy?
I don't know. I'm just certain an actual doctor or therapist wouldn't at the end of the day go,
no, that's my
I'm just going to drop this bomb.
Yeah, no.
One person.
Why wouldn't you tell Clayton if that's how you feel?
4 beautiful girls stand up.
And I'm going to let you
figure it out.
Good luck.
Insane move.
Insane. I also really love that he sent home in the middle of therapy Genevieve before he got done with of course. It's like, by the way, I take this seriously. Genevieve's gone. Who's next?
I have down too, like that whole situation felt very icky. The Genevieve therapy session.
Yeah, right. It was something weird.
That was not okay.
It
that was not okay. It was like, let's force you into a therapy session that you're not comfortable in at all. Talking about feelings that you're telling me right now you're not comfortable talking about. I don't know. I felt very like we were looking at something we weren't supposed to see.
Yeah, right. Because I also like it didn't make sense to me because it wasn't as if Genevieve was this like demure, quiet, like you didn't hear from her all season. She was low-key involved in the Shanae drama.
She was a little firecracker.
She spoke
we
up.
saw the balloon deflate.
Yeah. And then she gets into this couples therapy and couldn't find a word.
It was really, really hard to watch.
Yeah,
and she said she's never done any kind of therapy before.
So yeah, I didn't love that because, and I get where Clayton's coming from, and it's not Clayton's fault, but like it gave this like, oh, you I guess you got to go. Like we're not, and that's not why he sent Genevieve home, right? Like, come on. Like,
No.
we weren't even like I actually I was on the fence. Is it going to be Genevieve versus Mara? Like,
What did you think of when Genevieve said, "I didn't want to be lucky to end up with him"?
I didn't want to be lucky.
She said that?
In the car, she said, "It's nothing against Clayton, but I didn't want to be lucky to end up with him."
I didn't want to be lucky.
Maybe she got tired of the competitive aspect of it all.
I think after the Sinead thing, she really shut down.
Yeah, I think she got tired of competing. Honestly,
Yeah.
it sounds like.
Yeah,
It was
I think it's like
wanna-
I want my partner to choose me type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I thought she was going to go really far when I saw her in the first couple episodes.
Me too.
Well, unlike Mara, who's just like every time someone else is getting a one-on-one, she's like, "Well, what about me? Genevieve seems to be the exact opposite. It's like everything we didn't like about Mara, I think we like about Genevieve is that like, he doesn't like me. Okay. Like, I don't want to pretend to do couples therapy with a guy. Like, if I'm Genevieve, like, why am I telling? Why? No, I'm not fucking telling you like my fucking secrets. Like,
You haven't earned my trust.
You haven't given me. Yeah, I spent no time with you. You put me on a fucking 2-on-1 with Shanae. Like, you haven't said 2 words to me.
No.
We haven't seen it. I'm sure they have talked, but like, yeah, she knows. Like Genevieve, I bet certain she was going home.
In a way,
In
a way that the other therapy sessions felt a little performative.
Yeah.
A little like, okay, I'm going to share and I'm going to show Clayton and this woman how I can share.
Can we give some love to Eliza, who?
Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
man.
Where is she? Can we
She's
find
stunning,
her?
and I hope to see her on the beach.
She's so
She's stunning, and she never
she-
got it. If she'd gotten a chance, I think she would
And
have
she
been.
showed she wasn't like oftentimes you could be like, hey, she didn't share much, she didn't talk
Yeah,
much.
we don't
but
know
like,
much
but,
about
but
her.
Scrapbook?
Eliza did.
Scrapbook?
She like when she got airtime, she showed like personality, and I very much hope to see her in
My
Paradise.
favorite thing was she did not make a big deal that she wasn't on that group date. She instead chose to rise above it and make the most out
that's
of
the
that
thing.
cocktail
That's-
hour.
She's
the best.
I think, stunning.
And this, like, it was in this episode, like, we got an ITM of her. And I was like, oh my God, have we ever seen her give an ITM before? Or like, we've seen like little fleeting
not
moments
much, but-
before a rose ceremony.
I really,
but we haven't gotten her
yeah.
commentary, and it was
Yeah.
awesome.
I hope to see her on the beach. Yeah, for sure.
Same.
Anyways, back online. And so I think, yeah, she just chose to accept how Clayton felt about her and didn't put up a fight. Teddy, like the performative, like I think back on criticizing Sarah, like her intro to therapy was weird.
Yeah.
Like that was, I think by definition,
us.
performative.
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't go in there and be like, I love therapy and I am so excited for you to like break me down. Like this is amazing. It's weird. It's weird.
I do love therapy,
No, same. Yeah.
but it just felt a little put on.
Yeah.
Well, that goes into the whole performance
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah.
Teddy and Clayton, I don't believe a word they said to each other.
Oh, yeah. That was.
And love Teddy. Teddy's great. We're team Teddy. But I think they just lost that love and feeling. Yeah, I really like you. No, I really like you too. It's like, okay. Like I didn't buy a word either of them said to each other.
Also, what a fizzle. Like, Teddy was such a fizzle.
Yeah. That's a second
Second.
Bachelor.
That was the first impression rose, right?
Second fizzle.
Yeah.
Not quite the Abigail fizzle that.
Abigail level, yeah. Because Teddy at
It
least
was
got
close.
a one-on-one.
It was close. Teddy at least got a one-on-one. But if it weren't for that one-on-one.
But even the one-on-one was kind of like, meh,
Yeah. Like, where's that chemistry?
There
that was
was
like
such that
explosive.
spark.
Yeah.
And I think it goes to show that Clayton is just like so invested in Rachel and Susie, in my opinion, that he's like not even seeing. Now you're starting to tell who is front runners.
We're really going out of order. It's fine.
I know.
Yeah. Should we get to the shopping date?
Yeah, wow.
Oh my gosh.
We all know the winners get the shopping spree.
Well,
Bachelor Nation loves the Cinderella story. It's insane.
I was like, she's the next Bachelorette.
She's either, if she's not the next Bachelorette, is because she's with Clayton. It has to be.
Uh-huh.
I mean, this date to me was all about presenting their next Bachelorette.
Literally. That's what I was thinking the whole time.
It reminded me when Rachel did it with Matt. You guys remember that?
Yeah.
How she was like,
Very similar energy.
I don't know, shoes over $30. And then everyone came out with like all these pictures of her owning Doc Martens and all this stuff.
I remember the Rachel and Matt date, but not as vividly, obviously, as watching this. But I don't remember there were some like hero shots.
Yeah.
Like with and she looked stunning in that like old like Rolls Royce and the red dress, and it was just such like she looked. They had a light on her,
the red.
She was well lit. That was like
such a Bachelor.
This is our next Bachelorette moment, and the only way she's not the Bachelorette is because she's with Clayton.
Yeah, that was like, I don't know. They just love this rags to riches moment of the story and the fairy tale.
It's hard. It's very hard to not love Susie.
Yeah.
There's nothing.
And especially after I would say this date for me.
Do you want to give it a shot?
Yes, I do. I just don't like, I don't want to be mean, but like, physically, obviously, there's like these comparisons to Hannah Brown, but like Hannah Brown really had that fire and that spunk and that this and that in the way that for me, Gabby does it, And
I think Susie has it more than they're showing it. Also, we saw a little bit of Hannah Brown that season, and you might be right, but
that is true. I didn't like Hannah Brown in that season, actually.
And I think it's not fair to Susie to completely compare her to Hannah Brown. I see the similarity, but they look different.
Oh, yeah.
I think there was a group date where Susie was like in that wrestling. She showed some fire to her.
Yeah.
She might not be Hannah Brown. What did Hannah Brown refer to?
The Beast.
The Beast. She might not be the Beast, but I don't think she... I think if they casted Susie as the Bachelorette and they put her in a pressure cooker situation where it was fight or flight,
she would give you good
I
TV.
think she would fight.
I think she'd be like more of like a JoJo Ben Higgins energy lead of like very, very
she gives
like
me Emily Maynard.
I think she would.
Yeah,
I think there would be. I think it would be a JoJo Hannah Brown mix. I think there's a little more fight in Susie than JoJo.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I disagree.
I
JoJo's
also
season.
disagree.
I disagree. I think she is your kind of like how Clayton was the answer for Bachelor Nation to like, what is our quintessential Bachelor that we've always had? That's Susie for them.
Well, maybe we'll find out.
Yeah, we'll find out. But you're right. We haven't seen enough of her.
Yeah, that's a really
we haven't seen her in a pressure cooker situation.
Yeah, we just haven't.
Can't wait.
And she's I think
intimacy.
when you get someone in an athletic environment and they show some fight, there's some fight underneath.
Yeah.
there. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
And she showed that. But
I would love if they would show more. Like I would love to hear like what Susie's. I think what it is I don't really know Susie's sense of humor, and I think it's hard for me to feel like I know someone or like root for someone until I like have a sense of like what makes them laugh.
But keep in mind, like we saw, like you forget on when Hannah Brown was Colton.
Oh,
she
God.
wasn't one of Colton's favorites, right? She wasn't top 4.
No.
She was stuck in this
pageant narrative
drama,
they set up,
right? So Hannah Brown,
It wasn't a good look.
was put in a pressure cooker situation, not as much as it is being the Bachelorette, but more than Susie has been. Susie's been coasting.
I would also
So
say
why
for the Hannah Colton thing, we saw the fire and the beast when she was the Bachelorette. But beyond even the pageant scandal, when she was on Colton season, they did their one-on-one. That awkward toast moment.
It was so
where
weird.
she couldn't even find the words to like toast to him. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But we didn't love her for that.
No, I'm saying we didn't see any
love her for
fire
that.
in that moment. That was a girl being like, I don't even know what to say.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and then she went on to be the Bachelorette, who was so outspoken, so fiery.
Exactly. So I'm just saying,
You never know.
you put her in the Bachelorette and you start throwing fucking grenades and landmines everywhere.
Yeah.
I believe she could have it. I just feel like I haven't quite seen it yet.
Yeah. And I think for me, especially too, it's like a thing of like, yes, she looks the part. Yes, she could have those things. But when I see someone like Gabby, who already gives me everything I want in a Bachelorette, who gives me like Caitlin Bristowe energy, like that's
yes. I think that's the good comp was the Caitlin Bristowe.
Yeah.
for
She
sure.
gives me like, she will probably lose it if she's put in a pressure situation, but she's genuine. To me, at least, she's funny, she's charming, she's gorgeous, she's older for Bachelor standards.
How old is she?
She's 30.
30. ICU nurse.
She's an ICU nurse.
I think it's Susie was 100% their Bachelorette, and if Clayton is with Susie, Gabby's your Bachelorette.
Yeah, I agree.
So you think Rachel, not at all?
I don't know.
She also reminds me of Jennifer Coolidge.
I think Rachel could be,
in a weird way.
No, I also feel like that.
Right?
That Gabby has like a tiny bit of Jennifer. Like in that she has
the voice making.
Yeah.
Who?
Jennifer Coolidge.
Why do I not?
Oh my gosh.
I'm
taking the dog, dumbass.
From Legally Blonde. Also from White Lotus.
Cinderella story. Like such that energy.
Like a young Jennifer Coolidge. Yes. Young. Like Gabby,
she said at the beginning, she's like, I hope she doesn't come back in an exorcist voice. And I loved it.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, kind of like also Anna Faris and House Bunny.
Yeah.
It would be very two different seasons. And I think they both could be great seasons. And I think their comps are two of the more popular. Like between JoJo, Hannah Brown, and Caitlyn, those are arguably three of your.
For sure.
Those are the ones on the podium.
Those are the Mount Rushmore for sure.
Yeah. Oh my God. The President's Day.
Well, Rachel Lindsay. We got to throw Rachel Lindsay up on Mount Rushmore.
I didn't say that's the only one.
I'm just saying. I'm
just talking about. Yes, we love Rachel. We don't.
I'm designing it in my head.
And maybe there's more than 4. I'm just saying those are some of the
all-time greats.
Some of the all-times. I think Rachel could be the Bachelorette if Susie or Gabby weren't. Gabby's story too with her mom. That's a big deal, and I mean it's sad. But like if we're talking TV and Bachelorette, they love that.
Of course.
We also like hometowns. We don't have the luxury
Susie?
of seeing the teaser because
Right.
and I wonder if Gabby's mom will be at the hometown.
Question: do we know Susie's story?
It's not.
I think her parents are still. She was talking about her parents sending her off, and her dad saying, just be yourself, they'll fall in love with you.
Right. But I mean, like, there's no, in terms of like a Bachelorette,
I'll tell you what, again, if Susie's not with Clayton,
right,
we just haven't seen her story because it's going to be the kind of again, I don't know.
The thing that makes you want to.
Because again, we know this ends messy. And if it's not, and we know Susie's one of Clayton's favorites, and we know Clayton has slept with multiple women. So we just don't know Susie's story as it relates to her maybe being the next Bachelorette. We just it hasn't been told yet. You know what I'm saying? She doesn't necessarily need to like have like a tragic story. Her tragic story might happen
right before our eyes.
Right before our eyes,
mm-hmm.
which will catapult her.
True.
Which you could say the same about, right? I just, Rachel, again, I think it has to do with, she would probably be great. I think it's cool that she's a pilot, that they love a pilot. They've had 2 pilots. I think it would so be cool to have a woman pilot.
Susie's not a pilot.
No, Rachel is a pilot.
Oh.
I think that would be cool, but I just think they have other stories that they would be more interested in.
Yeah. So are we going to say predictions or?
Well, we have to at least talk about, I was.
Oh, wait.
Serene's, I got to say, I keep expecting Serene to go home, not because I don't think she's flawless and like too good for like the show. Like, flawless. I'm just like.
There's no, I don't see it.
And nothing at Clayton. I've become Team Clayton. I think he's getting a bad beat, but it's like Serene.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really?
It's like a league of her own.
You're still here? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. I kind of suspected that Clayton would feel that and then focus on other connections.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
You know what I'm saying? Or like Teddy. There seemed to be more with Teddy.
Yes.
Like I just didn't really see it, but. Props to Serene.
But you know what though? Speaking of Ari and what's her name?
Lauren,
thank you. I remember watching that season and never for a minute thinking it was Lauren because she was so quiet and she was so like the silent killer of that show.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Whereas maybe we're not really seeing it, but I still think that he has other front runners, but
I never would have guessed, and I never have yet, that Serene would be top 3 or one of the women that Clayton hooks up with, but it definitely is a possibility. I mean, it's easily possible that Gabby made it to hometowns because have we really seen a connection between Gabby and Clayton?
Yeah.
You say that like
It's
you're
just
trying
like
to
a
convince yourself.
jokey-
You sound like one of those girls trying to
No.
convince yourself that Sarah is like a terrible person.
I think they're like,
I know.
we're friends.
We're friends. It's friend energy
I
between
think
those
they
two.
yeah, they have a very warm, lived-in, comfortable dynamic. That's not necessarily love.
I'm not seeing like, I love you, let's have sex in the
No,
fantasy suite
not at
because
all.
I can't decide who I'm going to end up with.
Although I,
mean,
think
Clayton
They
clearly
could like
has
have a
type.
fun game night or something in there. Instead of
I have a
So I
question.
feel like Gabby I think we got to see Gabby's hometown, whether her mom makes an appearance or not, to talk about
Right.
the family dynamic, to endear us even more right before they announce her as the next Bachelorette if Clayton is with Susie. You know, they're always hedging their bet. As they're filming this season, they don't know how this shit's going to end, right? So they saw Bachelorette energy in Gabby, Rachel, Susie, and like, you know, let's get these, but Gabby's is a compelling story. So get her to hometowns, send her home after hometowns. But that would make that to me, that's my prediction. But like, that means Clayton, that means Serene might go to the fantasy with Clayton.
Yeah.
I just never saw that.
Yeah. But it doesn't mean he sleeps with her.
Doesn't mean he sleeps with her.
So that would make sense, I guess, in a way, because he's clearly more invested with the other two. But I have a question. This is like more of like a producer question for you. But the whole Firefly thing, I thought it was so sweet and so endearing.
That's great.
But do you think that was Clayton's idea?
Art department. Yeah. I don't know for sure. When I wrote that fairy tale and drew the pictures for Andy, that was my idea. I did it. I spent the whole, like, some people are creative, some people are not. However, for the people who are not, the Bachelor producers are there to make a TV show and help their leads look good and help contestants come up with ideas. Because like sometimes people get nervous and they don't know what to do, or maybe they're not inherently romantic or thoughtful or creative. So they're just like, I don't know, I'm just going to talk about like my favorite football team. Well, you can't talk about your favorite football team on The Bachelor. You got to like do something. And so they might,
they prompt you.
They're their friends who are like, hey man, they're their friends who help you like go buy a nice birthday gift for the sister who's helping you, their brother get a birthday gift for their friend, you know?
Yeah.
Like, so it's like of course Clayton wanted to do that for Serene, and he's also too busy
to think about it,
doing anything else, and it's entirely possible Clayton could have been like, I'd like to do something nice for Serene. Can you guys help me? And they helped him for sure. But definitely Clayton was not in like the...
No, I know he wasn't making it, but I wonder if he was the one with the Firefly idea.
It is 100% possible he had the idea.
Yeah.
Lots of times leads have the idea, but sometimes those ideas are
I know they're not
suggested.
Executed by him.
But it's like the friend saying, it could be something as simple, I'd like to do something nice for her. How about this? Kind of thing. And then there's other people who are... I was like, can I get Andy roses? Like, I gotta have a nice day. Can I get her flowers? And to this day, I'm the only person who's ever had flowers sent to someone. But I was the bad guy. So
So we got our final four.
Look at him now.
Yeah. So it depends. It depends on the love language of the contestants. Final four. So I get my prediction. Gabby goes home next. Serene, Rachel, and Susie are your final three. Just something that tells me Susie is catching up to Rachel. I want to say one thing before we get predictions. It reminded me of something. The reason why Clayton sent Sarah home, in my mind, and the reason why, because I don't believe you. I mean, he was kind of like cold and pretty.
When he was like, you're trying to make yourself cry right now, it's like,
that was
yikes.
the first time I saw Clayton like really.
I kind of love that from him.
I loved it. I literally wrote down, fuck yeah, Clayton, called that shit out.
But you know where I think that motivation came from? Do you know why I think he chose not to believe Sarah?
To defend Rachel.
Rachel. Because once Rachel was like, I might go home, he was like, fuck this shit.
Yeah.
He's like, that's my wife.
Yeah.
But Sarah gave me the energy of a girl that he would have wanted to bring to the fantasy.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I think Clayton had every intention of bringing Sarah to the final three, and Rachel was like, yeah, I don't know. If she stays, I might leave. And Clayton was like, enough said, babe. And he walked, and he was done. That was it.
Yeah, because their physical chemistry was...
Yeah.
They were like eating each other up.
So
That would have been
that. But other than the reason I remember that was because other than Rachel's one-on-one, that first one-on-one where it was like, oh, Rachel wins. It's like, okay, like we haven't, granted, there's still a lot and you can't see everything. That loyalty to Rachel was the most I've seen between those two since their first date. And in between that time, I've seen a lot of Clayton and Susie. I've seen a lot of Susie catching up.
I think he picked Susie.
You do?
Yeah.
Oh, can we give a shout out to the lady in red? That's the guy who sings that song. Was it not? That's my mom.
Yeah.
It's my mom's favorite song, one of. And I know every word of that song because I remember as a kid, my mom would play it just like making dinner. And Natalie and I were watching. I was like singing the Beauty by My Side. It was great. I thought it was really cool. They don't he's a legend. It's a legendary. It's a beautiful song. She came out. It was a nice moment. It was a very usually you have an obscure kind of up and coming artist.
Yeah. No, it's a classic.
I thought that was pretty cool.
It's a classic.
I thought it was
the end.
Cool.
Did you guys catch the end? It was like, I love you.
I think that's actually that's
in the ending of the song.
It was it played a little weird on the show.
Weird.
Yeah, it played a little weird on there. Yeah, it was a nice moment. But all right, so having discussed why Clayton sent Sarah home, you saying Susie?
I think he picked Susie because in my mind, from what I've seen, who he is most compatible with is Rachel.
So because he's the guy,
because he is the Bachelor, he's gonna pick Susie.
It's possible, and also we just know it's messy. He could be single.
Yeah.
You could argue he's getting an edit like a single guy.
I haven't seen really substantial conversations between Susie and Clayton where it's just like this puppy dog love that I see between them. The way he lit up when she did the surprise. Oh my God. Like he's so into her. And I'm not saying he's obviously super into Rachel, but I think that Rachel and him have something that's a lot more substantial and maybe rooted in similarities, and her giving him so much reassurance from the get-go. And Susie might be more of the spicy kind of risk for him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you saw her in that red dress.
Yeah.
That was, I always get asked, it's just it must be easy to fall in love in Bachelor world. And I'm always honestly, the helicopters and the bungee jump, it's all very inconvenient, to be honest.
How so?
Because there's a lot of production that goes in those dates. So it's what you see is not as romantic as it is while doing it.
It's a lot of stop and go.
Yes, right? But there are occasional moments where I think it really kind of does intoxicate you. And I think the Susie date with Clayton was an intoxicating date for Clayton and Susie. And I could see that kind of catapulting that relationship.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good ending because I think, when was the last time we've been this kind of, it could a coin flip between two people?
I mean, I thought that way about
Michelle
season. Before
with the top
Joe
three
went home.
Yeah. We had Joe.
I
Nate,
really
and
thought it was between Nate and Joe.
That's a good point.
No, you're right. You're right. But before that, I guess it's not as common. I mean, you had Greg and Katie,
you and Sean.
Yeah, me and Sean, Andy and Josh for sure. But it's not. I guess it's when we get to people where they're really torn on,
Hannah Brown.
No, because once Luke
did I just want her to pick Tyler?
No.
No one ever believed Hannah and Tyler. We wanted her to pick Tyler, but it was Jed.
It was really Jed.
I just had too high of hopes.
I think we all picked Tyler.
Amen.
But I think we're really torn. We really see the connections. This is not about who our favorite is. It's who we think the lead's going to. And yeah, Michelle too. But I guess what I'm saying, it's great because it doesn't happen.
Oh, it's great TV.
I feel like I can't put my finger on why, but for some reason, I do just feel like Rachel looks like the winner. Susie looks like the Bachelorette. Something about the way they're filming it to me is just
100%.
really reading that way.
100%.
But that could be the way they hoped.
And
then it ended up not going that way.
Which
because
is,
despite all certainly producers produce and but at the end of the day, the lead does get to decide. There is no pick this person and get engaged to. They do have a choice. And at the end of the day, they have to let things play out, which is why they hedge their bets.
He still hasn't said he's in love, right?
Not yet, no.
But he did whisper to Rachel, "I'm feeling the same way," or something like that.
Yeah.
As if whispers aren't picked up. I'm like, it's so cute. He's so cute.
Are you? Have you come around on Clayton? You're...
I have a little bit. I'm still tough on him. I liked him this episode the most. Oh no, sorry, last episode when he lit up with Susie. I was like, I get it. He's really into it. He's really being honest about it. But there's a couple shots in the teasers where he's still like these tears of like, I don't know.
Well, we know how he feels about crying.
How does he feel?
She said that I cried?
I did not cry.
I was not crying.
Not crying.
No, I've come around on him. I think like the poor guy was plucked and put into the situation. But still, I don't know if you guys agree. He's pretty expressionless in a lot of his conversations. And sometimes when these women are sharing these stories and these things, he tends to do this thing of like, oh yeah, no, I had the same situation when there was a conversation of like, oh, well, I had a boyfriend in high school. I think it was Serene.
No, I think that was Susie on her one-on-one.
Was it Susie?
And Clayton was kind of like,
oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, I had a girlfriend too. It's like, well, and I get it. You also want to tell these people your story, but
I mean, I kind of disagree with that only because that last point you made is, what do we know about Clayton and his like love story or heartbreak, anything? When he was like, oh, I had a girlfriend once, I was like, oh shit, I didn't know. Isn't that kind of nuts how little we know about Clayton and like whether he's been cheated on or has heartbreak or whether like just anyone who's like this fucked him up a little bit. Like he kind of looks like a guy who like maybe swiped right on a couple like dating apps and like kind of like maybe had a fling for a summer.
But here's my thing. If he would have been heartbroken, if he would have had these things, we probably already would have heard it.
Probably, yeah.
I mean, with Michelle,
you know,
her story and her thing, we heard it a lot.
Yeah. Well, his Clayton's story was he likes puppies and kids like him. And that's not Clayton's fault.
No.
Mariel, thank you so much for coming.
Oh, thank you.
Please
for
come back.
me.
You were like a rock star.
Oh, damn.
A professional.
Really?
I'm just a really big fan.
Your knowledge is so deep.
Yeah.
Also, I slid into your DMs. Did you know that?
I did not.
Yeah.
No.
I thought I had to like confess.
Way back when?
Way back when. Not in a like.
After you stopped hating me.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. So, just had to confess that.
Well, you are excellent at this recapping thing.
Thank
you. Please let my audience know where they can find you, follow you, watch you, all the things you're doing.
Well, everyone needs to go to Hulu and watch Promised Land. I play Carmen there. It's a really, really, really good show. I say it's like very Game of Thrones on a vineyard kind of a deal.
Ooh. Like kind of almost Yellowstone.
Yeah, Yellowstone-y, Dynasty.
Yeah,
it's fun.
I'm into that.
A lot of like twists and turns and yada yada, but it's great. And then on social, you can find me on Instagram at Mariel Molino, Mariel Molino.
Awesome. Well, don't forget, still come back when
I would love to.
When you've reached the
supernova
level.
You guys.
And I'll be like, I had that.
Your humble beginnings.
Are you kidding? I might show up on The Bachelor. I might sign up for The Bachelor. I'm not even kidding.
Don't do that. You're doing great. You're doing great things. No, don't go backwards. Thank you so much. Thank you guys for listening. Don't forget to send in your questions at asknick@castmedia.com, cast with a K. And join us tomorrow for Megan Trainor, her brother, Mediation, Love is Blind 2, probably some more. We'll talk a little Euphoria maybe. Are you watching Euphoria?
No.
Anyway, we'll discuss it all. Subscribe, tell your friends, rate us 5 stars, all that fun stuff. See you tomorrow. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. But before you go, make sure you like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you don't miss any future videos like our Mondays Ask Nick, especially if you're looking for some relationship stories and relationship advice, as well as our Wednesday interviews with your favorite celebrities and experts. See you next time.